This year for Imbolc, I am drawn to the sacred wells that aren't talked about as much as the Brigidal or the cross, or at least that I've been able to find anyway. It's very limited. Natural springs and wells were vital to Celtic spirituality, often viewed as sacred site and viewed with divine energy. Who wouldn't want to talk about that? These wells serve as a place of worship, healing, and community gathering. The Celts believed that the spirits of the land resided in these waters, and as such, they were treated with the utmost reverence. Sacred wells hold a significant place in Celtic tradition, often regarded as portals to the divine and sources of healing power. They were places where individuals sought solace, guidance, and rejuvenation. And Bridget's influence extends beyond the realms of healing. She has inspired countless artists, poets, and writers throughout history. The well serves as a powerful symbol of creativity and enlightenment, encouraging individuals to tap into their inner selves. Many artists have found inspiration through visits to Bridget's Well, reporting a surge in creativity following their experience. Writers have proclaimed that the most profound works have happened after meditating by the well. Artists have created stunning pieces inspired by the tranquil surroundings. Individuals have discovered clarity in their life's path through reflection at the site. St. Bridget's Well can be found in Clare, Ireland. There are roughly around 3,000 sacred wells, and I believe about 15 that are dedicated to the goddess or the saint Bridget. We don't have any Celtic wells in the States, or at least any that I know of. I know we have many Native American, but I decided that since I can't get to any, that I would create one that I could place on my altar at Imbolc along with my Bridget doll that I still haven't been able to find. Thank you very much for asking. So I went to the internet to look for some kind of inspiration, and I didn't find a lot, but I found enough. Laura had a liking for this type, and I had a liking for this type. Now, it's basically very easy, and I've made the type that Laura's going to make a long time ago when I worked for Puka Pages, and back in 2011, I think, I made this well. And so I knew I wanted to do something a little bit different this time around. So Laura went with this look, and then I went with a more natural spring look that I will show you now. And we did it all using one of these to make this. And here's how we did it. I used an energy drink can, the large Monster energy drink cans, and then I used the cap as the top smaller part of the fountain. Laura used a aerosol can cap for her base of the fountain. You're also going to need decoupage, and you're going to need brown paper bags or any kind of paper that you want to use, because you're going to cover up that tin. And then if you want a base, some kind of base, I got those at Amazon for like $1.50. You can also use cardboard. It doesn't matter. You're also going to need a glue gun, some E6000, and parchment paper. Now, when you're working with a shiny surface like the tin can or glass or plastic, you're going to want to put some kind of grip on it to keep anything that you are either going to glue on it or paint on it from scraping or coming off easily. Now, I lost the footage, but what I did is I took the can and I covered it with strips of the brown paper bag and decoupage, and I covered the entire bottom of the can. The next part that I did was I took the parchment paper and I made a circle using both cans to get the size of them onto that parchment paper. And then where you have the two circles, you're going to take your glue gun and you're going to start filling in the center of that circle. And you're going to want to do this in a circular motion and fill in the entire piece of parchment paper circle. And I learned this from someone on Facebook, and I saved the video so that I could give her credit, but the video is not there anymore, so I can't do that. So as you can see, there's a swirl, and you will get more of that look as it dries, but you also want to take this off the parchment paper as soon as it starts to get hard but still warm. Otherwise the paper will stick to it. If you do it before then, it will come off very easily. Then I took the crystals that I wanted, and I had some green aventurine that I wanted to cover the outside of the well with. And I bet you were wondering where Laura was. There she is, and there she is making her well out of a cap from an aerosol can. I did not forget her. We just started talking and I forgot to record. Anyhow, she used an aerosol can and started gluing her pieces of stick to the aerosol can. The swirls of the hot glue that we used on the parchment is going to substitute actual water being in the fountain. Now, if you want to use water, go ahead, but I wouldn't decoupage the inside of the can if you're going to do that. Now, what Laura did with her well is she started filling in the cracks with some moss and decorating the top of it to give it a more of a natural look. She also filled the inside of her can with rocks. Now let's just take a second to admire my sponsor, Laura, admiring her well. Take a look at that face. Okay, that's enough. Don't be weird about it. Okay, back to business. So now that I had this put together and I knew what I wanted, I noticed that the smaller cap had a blue lining already in it, and it did not look well with mine. So I knew that I had to change something up, and I went and looked for a blue paint that would match the top of the cap. And while I was looking for a blue, Laura was looking at her well and critiquing it, which is something that I usually do, not her. And she kept putting hers together, and I kept overthinking my life choices. Just a normal time of us together. And this was the finished product. She took a shell and turned it into a bucket for the water, and it turned out absolutely adorable, and I loved it. She put some crystals on the top of her well to touch it up, and a pearl, and it turned out awesome. I just love it so much. And again, she was done before I was, a couple days before I was, and I went to work on mine after I finally found a paint color that matched the top of the fountain with the bottom, and I painted the bottom, only the very bottom of the well. While the paint was drying, I filled in the inside of the top of the well with some fluorite crystals that I had to cover up the silver that was on there. Once the paint was dry, I took the glue and placed it on top of the blue. You can see where there's a little bit of a crack there where the glue was thinner. and then it didn't go around the entire circle. You can fill that in later with the glue gun, which is what I did. I decided I didn't want to use a base, and I wanted this to be able to take apart and put together so I could store it safely for the year until the next Imbolc. So I found a crystal that I had, and I placed that on the side and propped up the top piece onto the bottom fountain, and I was really happy with the way it looked. Now, I did this. I took a piece of the glue and wanted to make water flowing from the top into the bottom, which I ended up not using, but I still think it's a really cool idea. It was something that this girl that I cannot find, thank you very much. I think you're fantastic, whoever you are. And I thought that was just the coolest idea. So I at least wanted to show you. Then I took this clay kit, air drying clay that Laura had gotten me, and I decided that I wanted to do something with that piece of wood that I had gotten from Amazon, and decided to cover it with clay for a backdrop of my sacred well and carve the name Bridget in it so that it looked a lot like the original picture of the St. Bridget well that they have in Clare, Ireland. The clay was pretty dry, but that was fine because it gave it more of a stone look for me. And then I took these colors of paint and painted the stone. After I got the colors on and brushed it on and then wiped it off, I took some white to highlight the top of the stone to give it that dimensional look. And it turned out looking like this. And I was really happy with it, but it still wasn't pretty enough for me. So I had a wreath, and I placed that on the stone wall with Bridget in the middle. So this weekend I'm getting a new altar, and so I decided to make this one a portable, smaller altar that I can move when the new one comes in. And so I put some moss down on a tray that Laura had given me for my birthday last year and set it up the way I wanted it. Take a look and see what I did while my cat throws up on the floor. I'm gonna go clean that up while you take a look at how I finished it off. Bridget holds two elements, and it is fire and water. Today I showed you a craft project based on the water element. And if you go to our website, anoldfriendstudio.com, and subscribe to our newsletter, we have different articles in that newsletter that come out every Sabbath. And this month we will have a craft project making a luminary, the fire element. So you have the water element here. The fire element will be on my newsletter. Just subscribe to anoldfriendstudio.com and you will receive a newsletter every Sabbath, and it offers articles on either healing, crafts, art, or spirituality. And we have magical days. We have a giveaway, and we have a giveaway on Imbolc on Sunday, and it's a free reading from me, which is a $100 value, and it's digital. It's done through the email, and we also have a percentage off on my products in my shop if you are a subscriber. If you liked this video and would like to see more of my content, please like and subscribe. And until we meet again, stay blessed, sweet souls.